football.
All right, Rutgers, Virginia Tech. Rutgers wins against Virginia Tech. Kind of edged it out, 26-20. It was funny. My app was malfunctioning. So when I looked at the score, it was 26-3, and I was like, "Wow, Rutgers really killed it." This was a game I watched after the fact. And I was like, "Oh wait, no, my app just malfunctioned. It's 26-23." Thanks to Jai Patel's 24-yard field goal with 2 minutes left in the game. Rutgers built a 16-point lead, but saw it vanish in the fourth quarter after two rushing touchdowns by Virginia Tech tied the game at 23. A 63-yard screen pass from Athan Kaliak-Manis. Great job, Athan, to Ian Strong set up Patel's game-winning kick. Virginia Tech's last attempt to respond ended with a key interception by Rutgers' Robert Longerbeam. That's a crazy name. Longerbeam. And Rutgers running back Kyle Monangai and Samuel Brown, the fifth, combined for 144 yards and 3 touchdowns, while Tootin led Virginia Tech with 122 rushing yards. Despite missing scoring chances, Rutgers notched its 10th consecutive non-conference win. Congratulations, Greg Schiano. Holy crap.
Big deal. Big deal.
Greg Schiano is such a fantastic coach. I cannot say enough great things about him. But Zach, I think we have to have a hard conversation here. Should Rutgers have won this game by more? They were up 16 points. The fourth quarter came. Virginia Tech makes a comeback. Now, give them credit. They did what they were supposed to do. They responded. Yeah. They got punched in the mouth. They responded right back. Ian Strong, heck of a heck of a catch there on that screen pass. Take the ball, and then to be able to kick the field goal. We give Rutgers all the credit in the world to respond like that, but felt like they probably should have won by more here. What were your thoughts, Zach?
Well, I actually went through the scoring play-by-play and drive chart. And this is on the episode of my show that I'm posting tomorrow. And it should have been 41-7 before Virginia Tech's next touchdown. They missed 2 field goals. They fumbled at the 3-yard line. They got stopped on a 4th and 1. They should have converted all those if they want to be the team that they want to be. And the reality is they are not. This is going to sound like a backhanded compliment. They're not good enough to blow those opportunities. Like, they're good enough to beat teams when they play well, but they are lucky that they got out of this game with a win. And they've got to play better if they want to get beyond to what they have as their goals, which is 8, 9, maybe even 10 wins, because they showed that they can be dominant. I mean, 26-7 or 23-7 with that many mistakes. I mean, in Lane Stadium, no less. And
right.
I think we're finding out Virginia Tech maybe they're not as bad as we thought. Like Vandy, that loss to Vandy, Vandy took Mizzou to the wire yesterday. So, like, I don't know how good Virginia Tech is, but the reality is I'm slow to give Rutgers props because I'm like, what it should have been, I'm like, yes, you're like at the same level as Indiana right now in terms of hype. But I'm a little nervous because I'm like, okay, if you do that again, you will lose. You can't do that again.
I was surprised that Greg Schiano trusted Patel to kick again, right?
Yes.
After the 2 missed field goals for him to go and ask him to kick again, I was kind of surprised. Now, I don't really think you had really another choice there. It was 4th and 5 on Virginia Tech 7, so it's not really a great opportunity to go for it, so I shouldn't be that surprised. But still, like, after missing those 2 field goals before, you have to think that Greg Schiano had a little bit of a lump in his stomach. Like, oh my gosh, is he going to miss this one as well? It's just tough game for Rutgers, and I agree with Sean. There were some coaching mistakes as well that need to be improved. They're excellent most of the time, but definitely in those moments you have to get better. But like I said from the beginning, I think you give credit to Rutgers.
Yeah.
They got punched in the mouth. They made mistakes, and Virginia Tech responded. Virginia Tech did exactly what they were supposed to do. They saw an opportunity and they went for it, and they took advantage of it. Yeah. However, Rutgers at the end of the day, they took care of business. They got the field goal. They got the interception at the end of the game, and they got out of there with a win in a hostile environment. Blacksburg is not an easy place to play. Like Sean says, first win in Blacksburg ever.
Yeah, that's I wanted to point that out. Like I think I don't I sound very critical, but I think we do need to highlight they don't win they have not won big road games in their history. And this is a huge road game of a former Big East rival. And so regardless of your thoughts about Virginia Tech, it's a big deal. It exercises kind of demons from their past. Like I think there's just a lot of good about this win. And I think to Sean's point too, I think I was surprised how ineffective the running game was because of Virginia Tech's defensive line. And that Kaliak Manis, like he averaged over 10 yards an attempt. Like that bodes well for Rutgers. And I think if you had told me that Kaliak Manis averaged over 10 and a half yards per attempt, I would have assumed that Rutgers blew out Virginia Tech.
Mm-hmm.
So like I think there's a lot of good to build on here, but the coaching and the lack of execution really needs to be addressed. And you have to ask yourself, how can this offensive line continue to progress so that the running game can continue to be dominating?
Totally, totally. I look at this and I say it really stinks for Rutgers that they had these areas that they were not as good in, right? I mean, Virginia Tech is not a good rush or running defense, and they held Common on guy to almost 3 yards per carry, 3.2 yards per carry. That just shouldn't happen against a bad rush defense like Virginia Tech. However, it did happen, and you're right. After Kaliak Manis, he responded. Ian Strong, he responded. Only 3 guys caught
Mhm.
passes in this game. That's wild. Only 3 guys: Ian Strong, Dymere Miller, and Kenny Fletcher. I always thought it said Carey.
Yeah.
No, it's Kenny Fletcher. I mean, so all these things go wrong for Rutgers. But then you have the guys who were
Yeah.
not normally the guys you would rely on to win the game come out and say, nope, put it on my back. I'm going to make this
Yeah.
happen. And I love it. I love it for this program. And I love what it says about the culture of Rutgers and what Greg Schiano is building there.
Yep. Yeah. Resilience, perseverance.
Yep.
That that really
And
does.
belief, too. They believe
Yeah.
in themselves. They believe in each other. I mean, a normal team that doesn't believe in themselves, like they would have got punched in the mouth and been like, oh, well, it's, that sucks. But no, like they believe in themselves. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think well, and it's funny. There's a side conversation going in the comments and I think you see it even in Sean's comments. Is like we are Rutgers. We're not the State University of New Jersey. We're Rutgers. That's who we are. And I think in a sense that's they believe that about themselves. Like we are who we are. We're gonna win. We're gonna persevere. We're gonna hit you in the mouth. And like they believe in themselves. And I think that longer beam interception, like yeah, like it's not that wasn't just a great play, it was a belief play that
Yep.
we're going to finish this game.
I totally agree, and that's the thing too. The fans are starting to believe in it too. That's the big thing with a program like Indiana right now. I think Indiana's going through some similar stuff where the players are starting to believe. I don't know if the fans completely believe. Now I know there's some fans who are really excited, but it's still not a great environment at those games. It's the opposite for Rutgers now. I mean, Rutgers, those fans believe they're showing up to games. They are rowdy and they are all about their team, and they believe that it doesn't matter who it is that comes into their stadium. Now, again, this wasn't at their stadium, but I know next time they have a home game, those guys are going to be, those fans are going to be going crazy because they believe anybody that steps foot in that stadium, they can beat them.
Mhm. Yep.
So cool stuff. Cool stuff. All right, we got to move on from